Have you ever wondered if we could live on Venus? This celestial neighbor of ours has long held a certain fascination for us Earthlings. Venus, the second planet from the Sun, sits tantalizingly close to our own blue marble. It's roughly the same size, the same weight, and even has a similar composition. It's been dubbed Earth's twin, and for good reason. Over the years we've sent numerous missions to Venus. From the Mariner missions in the 60s to the more recent Akatsuki spacecraft, our curiosity about this veiled planet has never waned. These missions have helped us unravel some of Venus's mysteries, but they've also left us with more questions than answers. So, it's understandable that the idea of living on Venus might sound appealing. It's close, it's similar, and it's shrouded in an alluring sense of mystery. But is Venus really a twin to Earth, or is it a deadly imitation? Venus, often referred to as Earth's twin, isn't as hospitable as it might seem at first glance. While Venus shares similarities with Earth in terms of size, gravity, and composition, the conditions on the planet are quite another story. Imagine stepping onto a world where the temperature averages around 865 degrees Fahrenheit. That's hotter than the surface of Mercury, our solar system's innermost planet, and even hot enough to melt lead. You'd be standing in the midst of a veritable furnace fueled by a runaway greenhouse effect. This extreme heat is a constant on Venus, with little variation between day and night or at the equator and poles. But it's not just the searing heat that poses a challenge. Venus's atmospheric pressure is about 92 times that of Earth's at sea level. To put that into perspective, it's akin to diving more than 3,000 feet under the ocean. Without a pressure suit, the human body would be crushed almost instantly. And if the heat and pressure don't get you, the atmosphere just might. It's mainly composed of carbon dioxide, with clouds of sulfuric acid that are corrosive enough to eat through metal. Breathing this air would not only be impossible, but it would also be deadly. These conditions present significant challenges to human habitation. The surface of Venus is an inferno, with pressures that would flatten us and an atmosphere that would quite literally take our breath away. Even our most advanced technology struggles to survive there. Russian space probes sent to Venus in the 60s and 70s only managed to transmit data for a few minutes before succumbing to the harsh conditions. So, living on Venus's surface seems like a far-fetched idea, but what about the skies? While Venus's surface is inhospitable, its upper atmosphere tells a different story. Now, let's delve into the fascinating idea of cloud cities. Picture this: floating structures high in the Venusian sky, where conditions are strikingly more Earth-like. Almost like a scene ripped straight from a science fiction novel, isn't it? Cloud cities on Venus would be located approximately 30 miles above the planet's surface, where the pressure and temperature are remarkably similar to those on Earth. In fact, this is the only place in the solar system outside our own planet where humans could survive without pressurized suits. But how would these floating cities work? The idea is to use large aerostat habitats or airships filled with breathable air. This air would not only provide life support for the inhabitants but also serve as a lifting gas to keep the habitats afloat in the dense Venusian atmosphere. The construction of these cloud cities, however, presents its own set of challenges. The materials used would need to be resistant to Venus's highly acidic atmospheric conditions. The structures would also need to be self-sustaining, with advanced systems for air and water recycling. Energy production is another consideration. Venus receives a greater intensity of solar radiation than Earth, which could be harnessed for power. However, the long Venusian night, lasting about 116 Earth days, would require efficient energy storage solutions. Then there's the issue of maintenance. Keeping these cities operational would likely involve regular repairs and upgrades, which could be significantly more difficult in an environment where sending help from Earth is not exactly a quick trip. Despite these challenges, the concept of cloud cities on Venus isn't entirely out of reach. With advancements in technology and our growing understanding of Venus's atmosphere, this once seemingly impossible idea might just be feasible. Cloud cities may seem like pure science fiction, but they might be our best bet for living on Venus. So, while the surface of Venus may be a no-go, don't rule out the skies just yet. After all, the future of human habitation might just be floating above us. Living on Venus, even in cloud cities, would come with its own set of challenges. It's important to remember that while we may be able to escape some of Venus's harsh surface conditions in the clouds, we would still be living in an alien environment. Firstly, any settlement on Venus would need to be constantly resupplied. Earth would be the only source for many essential resources, from food and water to spare parts for machines. This would necessitate a constant stream of supply missions from Earth. The sheer logistical challenge of this makes it a significant hurdle. Then there's the issue of isolation. While we've grown accustomed to the isolation experienced by astronauts on the International Space Station, living on Venus would be a whole new level of solitude. The distance from Earth would mean communication delays, and the hostile environment outside the settlement would limit the possibilities for exploration. You can't just step outside for a breath of fresh air when you're living in a cloud city on Venus. And let's not forget about the dangers of Venus's environment. Even high up in the atmosphere, conditions would be incredibly harsh. The air pressure would be about the same as at sea level on Earth, but the air itself would be mostly carbon dioxide, with a smattering of sulfuric acid. Not exactly the kind of place you'd want to take a deep breath. And while the temperature would be more bearable than on the surface, it would still be hot enough to make life uncomfortable. There would also be the constant threat of Venus's powerful winds, which whip around the planet at speeds of around 200 miles per hour. These winds could pose a serious danger to any cloud city, potentially damaging structures and making navigation challenging. Despite these challenges, the idea of living on Venus isn't completely off the table. It may be a long way off and there are certainly many obstacles to overcome, but the potential rewards could be enormous. After all, the human spirit has always been drawn to exploration and the unknown, and Venus, with all its challenges, is no exception. While living on Venus may seem unlikely now, the future of Venus exploration could change that. As we delve deeper into the 21st century, our ambitions for space exploration continue to grow. In the not-so-distant future, Venus may no longer be a mere point of light in our night sky, but a destination for scientific discovery and perhaps even human habitation. There are several upcoming missions to Venus that could unlock the secrets of our celestial neighbor. NASA's Veritas and Da Vinci Plus missions, set to launch in the late 2020s, aim to map Venus's surface and analyze its atmosphere. These missions could help answer critical questions about the planet's geological history and the presence of water. Alongside NASA, the European Space Agency also plans to launch the Envision mission, which will study Venus's geology and its interaction with the atmosphere. These missions will not only deepen our understanding of Venus, but also test new technologies that could make living on Venus more feasible. For instance, the VAMP mission proposes to send an inflatable solar-powered aircraft to Venus. This aircraft could float in the Venusian atmosphere for months, collecting valuable data and demonstrating the potential for airships as a means of transportation on Venus. Moreover, advancements in materials science could lead to the development of suits and habitats capable of withstanding Venus's harsh environment. Imagine living in an inflatable habitat, floating in the cooler upper layers of Venus's atmosphere, protected from the planet's extreme heat and pressure by a suit made of advanced materials. While these ideas may sound like science fiction, remember that so did landing a man on the moon just over a half-century ago. As our technology advances and our knowledge of Venus grows, the idea of living on Venus might not remain in the realm of fiction for long. Who knows? Maybe one day, Venus will be the next frontier for human exploration. So, can we live on Venus? The answer for now is not quite. As we've explored throughout this captivating journey, Venus, with its scorching surface temperatures and crushing atmospheric pressure, presents a host of challenges that, currently, make human habitation far from feasible. Yet we've also discussed the tantalizing possibility of cloud cities, floating high above the planet's inhospitable surface. These potential habitats, while purely speculative at this point, are a testament to our unyielding spirit of curiosity and exploration. Moreover, we've delved into the future of Venus exploration, a future that, despite the hurdles, holds immense promise. With advancements in technology and our ever-evolving understanding of the cosmos, there could be solutions to the Venusian enigma that we have yet to conceive. While Venus might not be our next home, it's certainly a fascinating place that's ripe for exploration. Who knows what we might discover there in the future?